So I'm reading the poem that Anand wrote for the Banyans of Chevala. And it's just, he's asked me to invoke the Banyans before we begin. Like a dhaman that keel backs, a languid green konda chiluva pamu of coils, wearing dapples of shade and sun on its back, this road snakes back into history. How many years? How many has it seen? Whose were the hoary feet that trod on this ageless dust? In years and epics past, of which only the sentinels that remain are the 1,000 Banyans of Chevala. Chevala. Chevula? Whose kathas and what jatakams can these great grandfatherly trees tell us, if only we could hear? The 1,000 mute Banyans of Chevala. Did the Pandavas walk on this road? Did the Shatavahanas, the Vishnu Kundins, the Kakatiyas, the Qutub Shahis, the Asaf Jahis? If only we could hear the 1,000 mute Banyans of Chevala. 30 kilometers from the last Banyan, the road hurries and hurtles to Hyderabad, the city of Sarojini Naidu, once the city of bazaars, cafes, parks and trees. Surely it must have all been so once. Now a sea of concrete buries everything. And like an angry tide, the floods come every year, sometimes in September, sometimes in October. Dekho, climate change is now here. Bhago tank band toota kate, bhago gandipet toota kate. A new rumor is now all over the news. The 1,000 historic banyans and another 9,000 or more trees, and the old road itself, they say, will all soon be history. They say approvals are bagged, budgets are passed, national highway kate. 20 crores for every kilometer soon, they say. Money and concrete will get poured here, burying the 1,000 mute Banyans of Chevala. Only 20 crore rupees per kilometer? Who did this math? Do they even know? Each of our Banyans is as precious as 100 mature trees, worth 1 million liters of concentrated oxygen, as irreplaceable a habitat as any mythical old-growth forest. The 1,000 Banyan sanctuaries of Chevala. What axe dare cut these gentle giving giants, these great-grandfather trees? These silent sentinels of our history, our last frontiers and refuges where an entire harried and hurried city, as we saw this evening, finds tree fortunes of calm and peace, finds friendly squirrels and birds in flight, finds childhoods and other priceless dreams. Mana 1,000 beloved Banyans of Chevala, Hamare 1,000 beloved Banyans of Chevala, our 1,000 mute Banyans of Chevala. Why can't they be just left in peace?
Hello everyone. This is a true honor to be here doing this. I have never read in public, but when Anand asked me, it was of course a great honor, and his words are just, when you read his words, you wouldn't believe that he has any kind of disability. So without further ado, the first poem that I would like to read is called Stray Birds. Funnily enough, it doesn't come from his book called Stray Birds. It comes from his first book, which is called Ink Dries. So here goes. Stray Birds. Thoughts, day bright, look me in my mind's eye with their birdsong of meaning. As I sit elevated, high in my eyrie, this room, where I write with nothing but the wait for the sun glint of joy in the eye of a stray bird to employ me. So I'll move on to the next one, which is about photographing birds. This I thought captured his mind frame when he goes out and shoots, I guess. So on photographing birds. The photograph is a freeze frame, a snapshot of pixels, a pale shadow of the blinding radiance of my birding joy. I evolve, a primitivist envy of bird flight, gyre wheels, arrow hurries, thermal soars. I resonate the scene eavesdropping, a tinnitus of imagined avian voices, trills, whistles, bill fills a bird song. My gluttony grows into a lust for lenses, bigger, faster, lighter. Its release, this bird poem, flight inked with light, seen by the mind's eye. However much I try, the camera is too slow an eye to freeze this instant, a swift bird fly. Still, what's gone in a blink trills in a euphoric soul's joy in me, lilts as birdsong's notes written in this ink. So the next one is also about birding. It's called Birding. In searching deeper shadows, the treed cuckoo makes a blinding mirror that reflects my human loudness at me. Sometimes all I pray for is a divine will that charms a perennia to sit still. Sometimes all I pray for is a touched light that freezes a bee-eater in flight. Why can't a day's work be the unhurried serenading of two speckled quails daintily tiptoeing in a tree? You are a bird soar of joy, and I, bee-eater, a transfixed eye, greener than you in envy. In the flowering whiteness of the drumstick tree, a purple sunbird sways and swings. In flaming colors, summer sings. And now the last one, called On the Little Egret. The egret makes little stabs with its bill, now left, now right, like a novice assassin in the dark. Its gait a peculiar mix of the drunkenness of those touched by the summer sun and the crowness of those who stalk light. It must live on a diet of fetid, summer-blanched pond water air, or it must be that those crests that flare into sight time to time are the contrails of fish bobbled at jet speed. Now I'll invite Natasha for the next set of poems that she'll read. Natasha, please.
Thank you, Priyam. It is indeed an honor to read out poems from Anand's book, The Stray Birds. Anand is a very dear friend of mine and all of us at Save the Banyans of Chevala, like we've been saying repeatedly today. We won a landmark judgment on Monday when the NGT ruled for the first time that even road lining trees which are not in forests or reserves mean something, and they should also be considered. And somehow one finds a commonality between the judgment which says even a common insignificant by law, a tree is important. With this book, Stray Birds, the word stray birds means a bird which probably doesn't have too much importance, and yet Anand brings the beauty and the majesty and the characteristics of each of the birds out in each of these poems. I am not a birder. I can literally identify 5 species of birds, one of which is a crow. So when Anand said, would you like to read? I said yes, but there are so few birds I know. And Anand helped me pick 3 urban birds, birds which I have been seeing from my balcony, particularly since lockdown, birds which I've been seeing around the place, birds which have captured my soul also, even if I didn't know their names. The first poem is called The Pied Bush Chat, female. Now this is a very friendly bird. We call it a bold bird because it poses for all of us when we want to photograph it. It's not scared of us, it's there. But is it that, or is it just a bird that likes being there and likes being admired? Here is Anand's poem on the pied bush chat, female. Feet so daintily close a comma wouldn't fit in. She perches light, a dry leaf in the expanse of day's breeze. Always she will face me, a gentle gleam in her eye, tail in a gentle puppy twitch, a trill bubbling in her bill. On her breast, in flecks of brown, the goodness of unpaved earth. In it, an anthem of skies, the soaring joys of being a bird. The second poem is about a bird which I think all of us have heard stories of, the quail. Even people who do not know much about birds know how the quail puts its, the female quail removes the eggs of the female crow and puts her eggs there and leaves it for the crow to do the dirty job of hatching the egg, and suddenly the quail sings a melodious song and the poor crow gets scared. Anand has spoken not about the despair of the mother finding it's not her baby that she's been growing. He speaks about how the male quails distract the female crow and therefore enable the wife to lay eggs. Asian quail, also from stray birds. 3 pairs of eyes blazing redness in a dry drumstick tree. Another 2 suns flaring, mine. The sky is a welter of wings, crows comings, goings, finger pointing with their greenish bills, wings flapping, bare-chested bravado. The quails seem like drunk fools. Nothing else stirs. Then, like a summer mirage, off-white, mottled, shadow grey and bark brown, arrowing from tree to tree, the female quails shrieks certifuge in flight. How many eggs were laid? The third poem is about a bird which probably all of us have seen, especially on clear afternoons when you look up at the blue sky, you see these beautiful kites just soaring. They are majestic, they are also killers, but unlike humans, they kill for food. They don't kill for joy like we do. And this is a poem that captures the might and the majesty of the birds. Dusk is a miasma of grays, a cloak on my back. Night, the sinew of my shoulders, a patch of black. Sky I wear under my wing, cloud silver, halo of white hovering. Ruthless, rampant, riveting with the blaze gaze of 2 blood-red suns. Death I bring. Thank you. And I will now hand over the mic to the real birder, Anjali Pandey, who is an amazing birder, and she's going to talk about, read out poems from Anand's book, Stray Birds.
First one is called A Homage to Little Blue. A wee bit larger than my thumb, on orange-pink feet, Little Blue sits moving. From perch to perch it flits, a little grumpy mostly, but sometimes content too. Like a tiny tot who is full. No poem have I babysat this long. 3 months have passed like 3 days. A season has changed. There was a time when the trees could walk and all birds could come to man as easily as birds. When rivers never dried, nor they were murdered. When all waters stood clear and blue, you were common then. No crow flies this straight. Ponderous, deliberate, flap, flap, the bat flies above. Below, Motorcycle born, I am a scaly gleam of light as the traffic snakes on the erstwhile Liberty Road. In the underside of those wings I see the girth and majesty of a gold-bearded sea eagle and the light of a setting sun. And of the city's nocturnal rising, from Tank Bund to the left, rippling alive, the lake's a billion fishes, eels, glimmers. Fat as pack rats hurrying home, car after car misses me, buses whiz by, a hair's breadth away on the other side of a line of gleaming cat's eyes. Midway in the mad melee, Suicide Point is a good place to stop and lean over the railings, wave spotting. Are they black kites in dogfights, or a flock of river terns, or giant swallows of the night? Come to skim the waters in a slaking of day's thirst. The last one is called White-browed Wagtail. Everybody is seeing it, right? I can see on your faces. So, its head gleams like a coiffure swimming with coconut oil, a black that's nonchalantly provincial. Its eyes are deep wells, as limpid and as wise. Marveling at its owner like all along the water's edge patrol, and up, down, pause, up, down, again, belabored beating of its tail. Others have named it the washerman. I lie stretched out flat, a lens eye, deaf to the loudly rotting heaps of human shit assailing me. The seconds are precious minutiae, waiting for the wagtail to swagger into the frame, the diamond glint of wet sand and gravel, the sun's brushed strokes on water ripples, eels of gold. Then the bird comes, pause, fills the frame, gosh, looks into the lens regally, like some Maharaja owning a lake palace, suited in black, white-browed, against a bokeh of sepias on the light-washed brown of the plebeian far bank, where dhobies belabor clothes. Thank you.
Anand, for giving me this opportunity. I will go straight to the poems, but I must say that being associated with the nature lovers of Hyderabad and to be in the Save Banyans of Chavella campaign has been one of the most enriching moments of my life, I think. And it looks like we are going to achieve something, so let's all keep our fingers tightly crossed for that. So I'm going to read 4 short poems, short and about, the title of the book is Stray Birds, and these are about, really about small little birds which often escape our attention, but Anand has so beautifully brought them to life with his eye for detail and his skill. So the first one is the common tailor bird. Needle sharp of bill, tail appraised in a scissor twirl, taut as a tightening thread. Always, the tailor bird is an instant, tiptoeing in the dapples and shadows of some bush, stitching the light of my eyes into portraits of hope. The second is another little bird which I'm very fond of, the spotted owlet. Many a time, like a lucky number, I have seen them in threes, flightless and frozen, alarmed as kittens treat. Mostly they have been 2, one dozing, one on sentry duty, taut as a watch spring. When single like me, it shows its true spots, ablaze in wide egg yolk eyes, beak bared like a tiger's claw, a mane snarling defiance, as if asking, "Who are you?" Till I walk away, transgressor guilt now perched in me. The third is the Indian golden oriole that I have spotted often outside my balcony window. I'm very fond of. The Indian oriole is a scene symphony of various strings.
That dazzle of yellow is how gold should be, sunlit, unlike the color of human shit, worn as dead, dull jewelry. Restless, a cherub lives perpetually in the fleshy pink of that bill. That black on the wings is a day-long vestige, a plumage of night like love lost, a vanish of light. The last one, a common hoopoe that Anand has assured me is his personal favorite too. The conference of the birds was some poet's imagination. Truth is, there was none. And if bristles and mane were a measure of intelligence, it's the barbet who has to be the wisest. Yet, if each bird were to denote one human fault, the hoopoe leads regally, starting with a russet golden crown and a gentle gleam in its eye, befitting the kindest of kings. And then, what lordly humility! For isn't this a bird ruling from an eyrie? This isn't the bird ruling from an eyrie, of stately tree heights, but down to earth, striding, farmer-like, its down-curving bill a plowshare probing that goodness of what remains, still sacred and unpaved. Thank you. And now I hand over the mic to Asya.
The poems I chose, actually, the first one is on the birds, and I chose the poems that I would read, and I thought to know the birds perfectly, describes Anand, because we've seen him on his scooty or taking the metro, lugging his huge camera and the large lens that Sunil was talking about. So he's an avid bird watcher, and his passion for bird watching is, I think, really surpasses everything. And even being part of a group, his dedication and his enthusiasm has absolutely no bounds. We used to think twice, but early morning he used to be ready, like, okay, shall we go to Chevrolet Banyans? So he was always ready. And just one thing I would like to add, when someone asked us recently when the victory came up, like, it's been 4 years, we didn't realize that's been started. Like, at any moment, did you all feel like giving up, or did you lose hope? I said, no, actually, only after you mentioned, we realized it's been 4 years have been passed. And the victory, yes, we always hoped, but I think the biggest takeaway will be the friendships we have forged. I mean, I can't explain in words. The friendship that we have with Anand, that everybody on our team, is something that I think we owe it to the Banyans. That's the most precious thing that the Banyans are giving to us, are these beautiful friendships that we hope to treasure and cherish always. I will read the first poem. It says, To Know the Birds. You can actually imagine Anand doing this. To know the birds is to be deaf to the tick-tock clamor of days and months. To master an unhurried walk slower than the barefoot saints. To know the weight of your footprint and curse plastic and other human shit. To know the passage of the seasons with the sun's dip, crawl on bare skin with the sighting of migrants. To dream of trees so high, the green canopies are a sky. To wear shades of earth and browns and greys and greens. To guard the soul in a fugitive sheath and dress always in the habit of hope, a changeling of camouflage. To worry for the grass and brush growing wild in the shadow of sickle and fire, for you know of nest therein. To know that every inch of earth is a living thing, a wealth of ground forage, and rue the spread of concrete suffocating dead skin. To meet the messenger of the clouds and again prophesize the coming of the rains. To chuckle and say when no one is hearing, it's better to be deaf than to be too sane or so blind to not to see blind birds everywhere. When Prasad sir was mentioning about Anand, this is what used to come to our minds. I mean, he was unable to comprehend how anybody else could not love the trees or nature as we could. Why is it so difficult to make people understand the love for trees, which seems so. The last poem I'm going to read is Indian Paradise Flycatchers. This is one of the. Actually, my husband is also an avid bird watcher, but I could never. Like Natasha said, I only could identify a crow and a koel. But this paradise flycatcher totally, first I saw it in Taroba, totally hooked to bird watching after that. Because most birds, when they show it on TV, were all lovely, colorful parrots, but in real life, all we saw were dull grays and browns. I never knew what actually interested bird watchers. And then you see the paradise flycatcher, and then you know what's. I have known dreams that are realer, spells too. You float away ethereal, always as distant as paradise. Like a thin tendril of moss in a glacial green river, you are there and still not. That endless tale, is it a long poem or still to walk on air? Or a wisp of white with a mind of its own, trailing after an avian comet? Or all cloud and angel strain, blue eye ring, bill to face and neck, or the sheen of coal, surely you're no natural thing. Thank you so much.
I'm the first one to say no, but Anand, you don't know the force he has. He can bulldoze you into anything. And I think that's a good thing because that really, I think, gave us impetus as well during the camping. So my first poem is The Blue Whistling Thrush, after Wallace Stevens. There are more than 13 ways to look at me. For no blackbird, I'm also violet and blue, in a way phosphorescent too. I sing of the sun long before it comes, in a strident outpouring from my yellow beak, then again after it goes. 6th, 7th and 8th, a bird with occult senses, alert, I presage alarms, omens, portents with unnerved tail, in a druid-like droop, or a shamanistic urgent spread. On a hot summer afternoon, I know the spells to make my own rain, shaking like a mountain dog's frenzy after a dip in a secret tree hollow. Grumpy look and loony eye, in a habit psychedelic cloak, come gown, come burnous, I'm an impressionistic masterpiece of spangles and paint streaks, black, violet, and blue. The next poem I chose at first. It's lovely, and I think it would be a nice end to this reading session, because that we need in plenty now, going forward, even for the campaign. Hope, after Emily Dickinson. Hope is a thing with feathers, a nestling safe, a poem roosting. In the night dark, blank pages of my mind. Oh, that it fledges to take wing and fly, blithe, buoyant, light. And I will live with the dream, that of its will it may, as a thing unchained, wild someday stray my way, into my waiting beam. Hope is a quest to see that precious diamond dazzle of bright sun glint in a liquidly alive droplet of an eye, and for an instant know, oh, but for an instant know, what it is to be joyously free. Thank you.